What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are indeed having a very happy, safe, and healthy holiday season. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year if we do not see you, although we will have a chance to see you, obviously, on Sunday evening after the Dallas Cowboys visit the Miami Dolphins for our live post-game show. You can watch that here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe on the Blogging the Boys Twitch channel or the Blogging the Boys Facebook page. You can watch it live. You can watch it at your own convenience afterwards, or if you're going to be driving or traveling, we do podcast that for you as well. Make sure to subscribe to the Blogging the Boys Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts. Today, though, is Friday, December 22nd for me as I put this video together for you. We've been doing this the past few weeks. It is our Dallas Cowboys fan rooting guide for Week 16. Counting the game that the Cowboys are going to be playing in, there are 11 games across the NFL this week that we have a preferred outcome in. Given that we've already had one game, the Thursday night football game between the Saints and the Rams, where the Rams won, that means that there are 11 of 15 games available where we want to see one particular thing happen. Now, there are different reasons that we're rooting for different things. Obviously, the fact that we're rooting for the Cowboys is kind of the main reason. That's the team you're obviously the most concerned with, but there are other things at stake. Let's take a look at the NFC standings as things stand on the Friday of Week 16, again, after the Rams beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football. As we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks since Dallas beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, the Niners, they have clinched the NFC West. They are the current and projected 1 seed on the NFC side of the playoff picture. The Cowboys currently are the 2 seed because they have the tiebreaker over the Detroit Lions, and there will, of course, be a game between these two teams next Saturday that will ultimately determine who is going to be the 2 seed if Dallas does wind up winning the division, because Detroit is overwhelmingly likely going to win the NFC North. They're number 3 right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers appear to be, I think they're becoming the heavy favorites for the NFC South. The Falcons are kind of falling apart. The Saints just lost, obviously. So this is really Tampa's division to lose the NFC South. The Philadelphia Eagles are the NFC East team not leading the division right now, so they are the top wild card. Like the Cowboys, they have also clinched a playoff berth. The Rams, with their win on Thursday night, currently sit at the 6th seed, and the Vikings, who I don't know that anybody believes in as much as the Rams. The Vikings played the Lions this week. That might be a loss for them. The Vikings, if they do get in, it's starting to feel like it might be as the final seed in the conference, as that 7th seed. You see the Seattle Seahawks are obviously hanging out. Shout out to them, of course, taking care of business on Monday night. The aforementioned Saints and Falcons, you get the overall vibe of the playoff picture in the NFC. But we're here today to talk about the NFC East specifically, because that's what we care the most about for the Cowboys. The reality is, it's extraordinarily unlikely that Dallas is going to take the 1 seed in the NFC. They would have to take the division first, which is a difficult enough proposition in and of itself, and then count on the 49ers losing 2 of their final 3 games. But that is still possible, which means that is a part of our overall rooting guide. So here's what you have to understand. And let's put the standings up here really quickly one more time. We are going to probably, in all likelihood, reach a point where we get down to the nitty-gritty as far as tiebreakers within the division are concerned. The division in question is obviously the NFC East. At the moment, the Dallas Cowboys lead the NFC East, and we've been telling you this because of their win percentage within division, all right? The first tiebreaker is obviously head-to-head record, but the Cowboys and Eagles split their games with one another, so we move beyond that. Next up is division record. As you can see right there, the Cowboys are 4-1, where the Eagles are only 3-1, but the Eagles play the Giants on Monday afternoon. That's Christmas Day. And if they win, if the Cowboys win, the Eagles will, at that point in time, they're very likely to take over what will currently be first place in the NFC East. Let's talk about these tiebreakers, because it's really complicated and likely going to become very complicated. And we keep going over this because these things continue to be at play and continue to be variables that are going to be involved in the NFC East conversation. The first one we just talked about, head-to-head record. That does not apply here. It's a push because Dallas won 1 game, Philadelphia won 1 game. Number 2, the best record obviously within the division. If things go chalk, if you predict both the Cowboys and Eagles to win out, which makes sense to some degree, certainly more for Philadelphia right now, they would both finish 5-1 within the division, which means we have to go to the third tiebreaker, which is your record within common games. And that's why Monday night's loss by the Eagles against the Seahawks was so significant, because Dallas beat Seattle. Again, if both of these teams win out from here on through the rest of the regular season, that will be a push. Number 4, the fourth tiebreaker, is best record within the conference. And again, the reason why this past week was so significant is because while Dallas lost, they did so to an AFC team. As you see, that fourth tiebreaker is within the conference, but the Eagles lost to an NFC team in the Seattle Seahawks. So if both the Cowboys and Eagles are to win out Dallas's final 3 games, obviously against Miami on the road on Sunday, Detroit next Saturday, and then on the road against the Commanders in the regular season finale, whereas the Eagles, they host the New York Giants on Sunday, they host the on Monday, they host the Arizona Cardinals next week, and they visit the Giants in week 18, it's arguable, it's likely to some degree that they both win out, and that will take us to the 5th tiebreaker, which is strength of victory in all games. A lot of people have been asking us, what is strength of victory? Quite simply, it is the record of the teams who you beat, the teams who you were victorious against. So what we want is for the teams who the Cowboys beat to ultimately win a lot of games so that they look very good. Their record is more robust. And similarly, the opposite side of that coin, we want all of the teams who the Eagles beat, and to be clear, we're talking about unique games, teams who the Cowboys beat but the Eagles did not, and teams who the Eagles beat but the Cowboys did not. We want all of the former Cowboys opponents to improve their record and all of the former Eagles opponents to worsen their record. That takes us to this week's rooting guide. We shared an image over this on our social channels, our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook. Jess Haney wrote an article about it at bloggingtheboys.com. I'll put a link to it down in the description. The red ones, the ones with the red highlighting here, we did go with a Christmas theme sort of color code, are based on strength of victory. We're rooting for the Chargers to beat the Bills on Saturday night because the Cowboys beat the Chargers and the Eagles did not. I hope that you're kind of catching the theme of this here. The Jets, who the Cowboys beat but the Eagles did not, we're rooting for them to improve their record. Again, the Seahawks, we want to see the Seahawks improve their record. We want to see them get better because Dallas beat them and Philadelphia did not. The Cowboys obviously beat the Panthers. The Lions is one that people keep coming to us. Why are you telling us to root for the Lions? The Cowboys are obviously in contention and competition with the Lions, obviously, for that potential number 2 seed, for the potential, number 1 seed if things were to really get crazy in the NFC. The reason we are rooting for the Lions is because they are a unique opponent for the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles did not play Detroit this season, and they will not play them before season's end, but the Cowboys do play them next Saturday. So if we live optimistically, which is what we're trying to do here, and say the Cowboys beat the Lions, we really want them to have an amazing record, again, to enhance and improve the overall strength of victory for the Cowboys, because that is a unique team to Dallas, because Philadelphia did not play them. The next one, as we move over, the Jaguars are rooting for to beat the Buccaneers. Really has nothing to do with the Jaguars, but the Bucs are a unique win that the Eagles had. They beat Tampa Bay earlier in the season. Dallas did not play them, so we want to see Tampa fall. We want to see that record come down. We want Dallas to be able to improve and take over in that strength of victory capacity. The Cardinals is also one that requires a little bit of an explanation. While the Cowboys did lose to the Cardinals, the Eagles still have yet to play them. So we do not want the Eagles to get one up on the Cowboys if they beat the Cardinals and improve their strength of victory. Again, I hope that the theme of this is becoming very obvious by now. The Chiefs obviously are another team who the Eagles beat that Dallas did not play. So we want to see their record. We want to see their overall robustness diminish and decrease. That's why we're rooting for the Raiders to win. The final two are really easy. We obviously need to see the Eagles lose a game. And so we're rooting for the Giants to win. And beyond the obviousness of it all, that also worsens the Giants draft pick, which is not a bad extra plus if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. And finally, if everything breaks the Cowboys' way and they manage somehow to win the NFC East, if the Niners lose 2 of their final 3 games, then Dallas could take over in this world where Dallas wins out. They get what they need on the Philly side of things. If San Francisco were to lose 2 of their final 3, the 1 seed in the conference would in fact be the Dallas Cowboys. This is obviously a very difficult game for the Niners, but also for the Ravens, because San Francisco looks like the very best team in the NFL. But all told, we are rooting for 10 non-Cowboys teams, because we get this question every week, why didn't you put the Cowboys on here? If we have to tell you to root for the Cowboys, we got some bigger problems here, but we're rooting for the Chargers, the Jets, and the Chargers play on Saturday. The Jets, the Seahawks, the Panthers, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Bears, the Raiders, the Giants, the Ravens, and because it's Christmas, you know that I have to say it, and a partridge in a pear tree. As it relates to the NFC East, ultimately there are 3 things that have to happen for the Dallas Cowboys. We have to get 3 specific things, all right? One of them is that the Cowboys have to win 2 of their final 3 remaining games. But within that, one of them has to be a win against the Commanders. So the Cowboys have to, at the very least, split their games against the Dolphins and the Lions. It can be either one, any one of those 2 wins. If they win either one of those games, they ultimately just need to beat the Commanders as long as they also get an Eagles loss. It does not matter which game. It does not matter whether it's home, whether it's on the road. If the Eagles lose any one of their final 3 games, that is one of the 3 things that we need as Dallas Cowboys fans. Number 2 is the Cowboys have to split with the Dolphins and the Lions at worst. Again, if they were to win all 3 remaining games, that puts them in the conversation potentially for the 1 seed, again, if San Francisco slips up. But as far as it relates to just the division, all they have to do is split those 2 games at the very least. Finally, though, they have to beat the Commanders. That is a non-negotiable thing. The Dallas Cowboys have to win against Washington if they want to win the NFC East in the final week of the regular season. That is it. That is the rooting guide for this week. I know it's a lot. I know there's a lot of teams, and I know it's unlikely to think that we're going to get all of these, especially if you look at it one more time. The Chargers is a tough ask. The Jets are favored in that game, in case you're curious. I think the Seahawks is possible. The Panthers feels really difficult. The Lions feels really easy. The Jaguars definitely very doable. The Bears is a kind of a coin flip sort of thing. I know Chicago's been in a weird spot. The Raiders, it's a division game, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Giants, they're double-digit point underdogs. And even the Ravens, they're almost 6-point underdogs on the road in San Francisco, despite how good they are themselves. But you never know. As Kate McAllister said, it is the season of perpetual hope. That is our rooting guide. Like I said, there's a link in the description down below to the article that Jess Haney wrote about this on our site, blogontheboys.com. We will be live on Christmas Eve following the Cowboys-Dolphins game to recap it all, hand out my stock report, and hopefully have some fun with one another while we are celebrating a Dallas Cowboys win. So make sure to subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel so you do not miss anything. If you want to follow me, my name is RJ Ochoa. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Threads at RJ Ochoa, or on TikTok at rj.ochoa. If you'd like to email me, you can do so, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or leave a comment down below, and I will do my very best to get to those as well. If I do not talk to you, if I do not see you for whatever reason, I wish you, your family, your friends, your circle, all those around you, a very merry, happy, safe, blessed Christmas, and of course, a happy New Year if we do not talk to you before 2024 arrives. It is such a special thing for you to share your love of the Dallas Cowboys with us, and here's to that ride going on for, I don't know, maybe 2 more months or something like that. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. We'll see you next time.